Everyone. My, my name is Drusilla Wright. I'm a member of the CSMSJ team. On behalf of the Caribbean School of Medical Sciences Jamaica, we welcome you all, including those of you who are online. Special welcome to our presenter, Dr. Kolawole, Head of Physiology here at CSMSJ. We also welcome Dr. Neville Ballen, our Executive Dean, Dr. Neville Graham, founder of CSMSJ and the Chief Development and Finance Officer, Ms. Daniela Hyde, for registrar, for faculty, for administrative staff, students, family, and friends. The CSMSJ has been conducting a series of monthly public lectures since last year, and today we present our third lecture in the series for this year. In February, we were privileged to have Dr. Neville Graham presented on the topic, the philosophy of the acquisition of knowledge in medicine, which was quite inspiring. Last month, Dr. Neville Ballen presented on the topic, the impact of chronic pain and non-communicable disease, which was indeed enlightening. And today we are privileged to have Dr. Kolawole, who will be speaking on the topic, know what you eat and eat what you know, a relevant topic in today's world. Now I will introduce our member of CSMSJ, O'Brien, to come and introduce the guest speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is O'Brien Jackson, and I'm also a member of the CSMSJ faculty. I will be presenting the biography of Dr. Kolawole Soda, an associate professor of physiology. She is a distinguished physiologist and academic architect whose career is defined by her leadership in medical education across Africa and the Caribbean. Currently serving as the head of the Division of Basic Medical Sciences in Physiology at the Caribbean School of Medical Sciences, Jamaica. She brings over 17 years of expertise in teaching, high-impact research, institutional administration, and community impacts to the forefront of the medical field. She is a formidable administrator and has held pivotal roles including Director of Planning, Head of Department, and Examination Officer. She has been a central figure in institutional development, successfully navigating complex accreditation processes and chairing high-impact committees on research ethics, curriculum development, and academic standards. Her strategic oversight has been instrumental in aligning faculty seminar series and academic timetabling with international best practices. As a prolific scientist and a leading voice in translational physiology, Dr. Kolawole has authored over 50 peer-reviewed publications in high-impact journals, garnering 1,481 Google Scholar citations. Her commitment to the next generation of scientists is evidenced by her supervision of more than 50 undergraduate research projects. She is also the author of the definitive textbooks Basics in Human Physiology, Volumes 1 and 2, and the Manuals for Human Physiology Practical. Positioned at the intersection of biology and technology, Dr. Kolawole is an active member of the National Association of Artificial Intelligence Practitioners. She utilizes artificial intelligence to enhance research methodologies and optimize the delivery of quality higher education, ensuring that her pedagogical approach remains cutting edge in an era of rapid digital transformation. She is a passionate advocate for public health and mentorship. Her community service includes volunteering in mobile clinics across Westmoreland and Trelawney, and delivering impactful lectures such as neuroscience and the girl child. As a member of the Physiology Society of Nigeria and Women in Neuroscience, She continues to inspire medical professionals to pursue an integrative, tech-driven, and compassionate future. Dr. Kolawole is also happily married and the proud mother of children. Ladies and gentlemen, faculty and staff, please allow us to introduce Dr. Kolawole.
Thank you so very much. Okay, before I start this evening, I want to appreciate this club and our team for organizing the topic lecture. My sincere appreciation. And also to CSMSJ, thank you so much for having me this afternoon. So please, can I have my slide? Thank you so much. This afternoon, really, we're going to be looking at the topic that says know what to eat and eat what to know. That sounds so interesting. Okay. So this is the point of reference, the point of interest what we're going to be looking at is a public lecture today. When we talk about know what to eat, so many of us we are intentional about knowing things about other things that we use, like our body cream, our phones, and so on and so forth. But we don't take much attention in really knowing what we eat. There is a saying that says every time you eat or drink, you're either feeding a disease or you're fighting it. So this is what actually called for the public lecture to enlighten us about us being intentional about knowing what to put in our mouth. Knowing what to eat actually refers to us not just eating anyhow, but choosing all and unprocessed foods. All and unprocessed food. And when I said all food, what does it mean? This means nutrient-dense food. We should prefer taking nutrient-dense food over just taking calorie-dense food. Bush medicine, as said by Payne Jackson in 2004, it says it has been a cornerstone of Caribbean heritage, and this is not just a collection of remedies, but a prowess of survival and resilience that has been passed down through generations. So we can see that in the olden days they were intentional about eating healthy, about choosing whole food. So know what to eat is actually about us taking the ancient whole food versus over modern processed foods. And even in the Bible, Genesis chapter 1 verse 29, when God created human being, after he finished the whole creation, what did he tell them? He told them what to feed on. And God said unto them, that is, God said unto Adam and Eve, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So God actually designed our body or our system to live on whole food, wholesome food, and not chemical cocktails. Next time. So that is what we are going to actually discuss in this public lecture, for us to be intentional about what we eat.
Okay. So when we talk about being intentional about what we eat and choosing whole food over processed food, what we are talking about is that we should go for fruits and vegetables. That has been an olden days practice, and we can see how far it actually helped them, how far it prolonged their lives, and we rarely hear of diseases or sicknesses. So when you choose this whole food, what are you consuming? The things that are present in this whole food, we have fibers and we have water, and the fibers that are present in this wholesome food, they actually help to maintain a healthy gut microbiome, and they help to regulate blood sugar. Also, the water that are also abundant in this wholesome food, it actually helps us to aid in cellular hydration, and it naturally detoxify our system. Then the third thing that most of us we don't pay attention to or we don't know is what is known as the phytochemicals. Phytochemicals is only found in all food. You cannot find phytochemicals in processed or modern day food. Phytochemicals, unlike processed food, actually contain bioactive compounds that help, to strengthen the body. So now that we have done with know what to eat, we have established that we should choose wholesome food over processed food. Because firstly, that's the way God made us. God made our system to feed mainly on fruits and vegetables. And also, if you look at your gastrointestinal system, the way it is formed, human beings, we have a longer GI tract more than carnivorous animal. And with that, the design of a gastrointestinal tract supports us eating, more vegetables and fruits. Now let's look at the second aspect, which is eat what you know. Eat what you know actually talks about you being so scientific curious to understand how this will actually function as a medicine in your body. So that's the second aspect of eat what you know. So that anytime you're eating a particular fruit and vegetables, you have an idea of what you're consuming. So that is eat what you know. We live in an age where we read the labels on our skincare and texts on our phones and how they work, but we've lost touch with the way the food take in our body work, and this shouldn't be. That is why we need to eat what we know and know what we eat. Now, I talked about the phytochemicals, which are the third, things that are present inside fruits and vegetables or inside natural food. So what are those phytochemicals? The phytochemicals are the bioactive non-nutrient plant compounds that provide health benefits beyond basic nutrition. We take food, we take wholesome food mainly to provide nutrients. But much more than providing nutrients, we have some other compounds which are known as phytochemicals, and they are bioactive compounds of the plant. Just from the slide, you can see from the picture of that tomato leaf, looking at it under microscope, you can see how complex the structures that make up the tomato plant. So when you just pick up your tomato plant, just know that what is inside is much more than what you can actually see with your eyes. So now the phytochemicals are actually the software inside our food. And we all know software inside a computer. No, you can't enjoy your computer, you can't enjoy using your computer if the software are not functioning properly. So likewise, these phytochemicals are the software that are present in our food, especially the fruits and vegetables. So phytochemicals, they actually give instruction to the cell. When you eat your food, it doesn't end there. Something still goes on inside your system. So phytochemicals, which is a component of the fruit and vegetable, actually serve as a software inside our food. Also, those phytochemicals, they are also the eating molecules that do the hard work in the body. You know, we eat to get some benefits. So these benefits, they are actually hard work that happens at the cellular level. So these phytochemicals actually are the eating molecules that do the hard work inside of our system. And such hard works are, they prevent rusting. Rusting, I just use the layman term. Rusting, they prevent oxidation, they prevent our DNA from breaking, and they prevent the liver also from being overweight. So these phytochemicals, they are eating molecules that cannot seen with our eyes, but they are actually doing the hard work inside our system. Also, I said earlier that those phytochemicals, they communicate with our cells. When I eat, the food goes down and work at the cellular level, after digestion, the nutrients, the phytochemicals, everything work at the cellular level. So those phytochemicals, they are the way the plants actually talk to the cells of your body. They give instruction to the cells of the body. So the food that we eat doesn't just provide the fuel, they also communicate with our cells to command them on what to do and not to do. Okay, so phytochemicals generally are found in the plants, just like I said, and they perform some certain function to the plant itself. For example, these phytochemicals, they protect the plants. Plant stays in the sun, rain beats the plant is exposed to dust, it's exposed to so many adverse things, but they still remain. It is because of those phytochemicals that serve as the immunity for the plants. And also, these phytochemicals, they provide the aroma, the color, the flavor to the plant. So that's their main function inside the plant. And generally, they provide protection against environmental stressors for the plant. That is, against pests, against virus, bacteria, and sun damage. Since plants can't run away from the sun, they can't run away from the bugs or heat. So what do? They make chemicals to protect themselves. So when we eat these plants, what are we doing? We are actually borrowing from their protection and we are downloading it into our system. So that is the main function of phytochemicals inside the plant. So phytochemicals are actually everything the plant have that you and I need also to reinforce our immunity. So before we proceed, I want us to know that the phytochemicals are bioactive compounds. They are not the, they are not the nutrients. When you eat food or nutrients, we're talking about the vitamins, about the minerals, which help to build, the structures of the body. But when we talk about the phytochemicals, they are the software that help to keep the structure, that helps to give instruction, that help, to boost the immune system of the body. So we need to know that phytochemicals are not minerals and they are not vitamins. They are beyond that. So now, these phytochemicals that are present in the plants, we have a lot of them, they can be classified mainly into 5, and you can see the diagram on the board. I don't want to bore you with so much of this because I know that this is a mixed audience. It's not purely, scientific. So the phytochemicals that are present in the plant can be divided broadly into 5, and you can see the subdivision, and each of these chemicals has specific function that it does to the plant. So when we eat it, that means the function we are downloading the benefits from the plant into our system to also reinforce our immune system. So I'm going to be explaining this phytochemical in a very simple way so that everyone of us can actually gain something. Nature is so kind that she has color-coded medicine. If you see a bright color in a fruit, that is a signal of a specific phytochemical that's present in the plant. So a plate that looks like a rainbow is a plate that offers a complete defense system. So now this phytochemical, I showed you the scientific categorization, but now I'm going down to a layman's classification, majorly by colors. So that when next, maybe you go to the market or if you see a fruit and you can actually judge by the color that, oh, this fruit is good for this particular thing if I eat it. So the first one is the red phytochemicals. When you see a red fruit, like tomatoes, like your watermelons, what should come to your mind is that this red colored fruit actually contains lycopene and anthocyanins. And what do? They serve as security and anti-corrosion software. So when you eat this, you can be sure that this red fruit is going to actually provide some level of security and also to provide some level of cellular damage from free radicals, in the body. So lycopene is found in the tomatoes and watermelon, and anthocyanins mainly is found in the berries. And what are the main functions? You can see it protects the heart and prostate from rusting. And when we say rusting, it means oxidation. Oxidation, from free radicals. They help to mop up free radicals. As we know that free radicals are, mainly the byproducts of metabolism. Free radicals, they go around in the body trying to damage the cells. But if you load your system with this red phytochemical nutrients or fruits, you see that they provide the antioxidants which help to mop up the free radical. And the recent studies have shown that lycopene is even more effective when eaten with a little healthy fat like avocado or olive oil. So you can actually enhance the consumption of your red fruits with the natural fat.
Should be heated and
The what?
heated, like heated.
Heated. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. So again, the second way you can judge the phytochemical present in the fruit or vegetable is through, if you see orange or yellow colored fruits or vegetables, you should know that it's very rich in carotenoids. And what do they normally do? Their main function is to serve as antivirus and external shield software. These are found in carrots, sweet potatoes, and so on and so forth. Okay, so yellow and orange pigments are the plant's primary defense against photooxidation. We said earlier on that the plants are exposed to sun. Human beings, when the sun is too much, what do? You run inside, you use your umbrella, you cover yourself. Plants can't do all this. So they need to reinforce their own, protective mechanism. So the yellow color that you see actually help in preventing them from damage from the intense sunlight. So when we eat those yellow colored fruits, what are we doing? What will it do in the body? They act as powerful antioxidants, they neutralize free radicals, they facilitate skin repair, eye protection, and they serve as anti-inflammatory. They have anti-inflammatory function. Okay, so the next one is green phytochemicals. You know, green phytochemicals, you can see the sources. What do? They serve as the detoxification software. And green phytochemicals contain these bioactive compounds. It contains glucosinolates and chlorophyll. And you can see the function. Glucosinolates, they are leading molecules that do the hard work of upregulating phase 2 detoxification enzymes. So when you eat them, they upregulate the level of the detoxification enzymes in your body so that it can actually, detoxify your system. And they also teach the cells how to neutralize carcinogens and pollutants. I said earlier on that they actually communicate, they help in communicating with the cells of the body. So chlorophyll acts as blood builder. They act as blood builder and internal deodorizer. I've heard so many people, especially from where I came from, once they notice that they are anemic, what do? There's a particular plant that is present in Africa. It is called ugu. They ask them to squeeze it and drink, the juice, and it works. It builds up their blood level because of the presence of chlorophyll. So that means if you eat any of the fruits that have this green color, you can be sure that your blood level will improve. Okay, we go on to the blue or purple colored phytochemicals. These serve as brain processor and anti-aging software. Fruits that are purple in nature, their main function is to help the brain and also to serve as anti-aging. They serve as anti-aging. The purple fruit contain anthocyanins, and these are incredibly powerful at crossing the blood-brain barrier. And also they act like eye-octane foil for your neurons, keeping your memory sharp and protecting the brain from the fog of inflammation. So if you're interested in, keeping your memory alive and from suffering from memory loss or stuff, you can actually engage in eating more of the fruits that have this, purple or blue color. Okay, we move on to the white, phytochemicals. The white fruits, white colored fruit actually contain this active compound, allicin and quercetin. And what do? The main function is to serve as immune firewall and circulation. They build up your immunity. For example, you can find this inside garlic, onions, and cauliflower. I remember, that sometimes maybe if I have cold or stuff, once I just pick up ginger and garlic and I eat it, I feel better. I don't take medication, I don't take, drugs, but just consuming garlic. And so now you can see it builds up your firewall and circulation. So it also helps to regulate blood pressure and keeps your immune system security guard on high alert. So now, this is just the summary of all the phytochemicals that are present, measuring them with colors, what they do, the bioactive compounds in them, and their primary physiological goal. So now, the general functions of phytochemicals, just like we have said, is to serve as antioxidants. They shield your body, they shield the system from the impact of the free radicals. We produce free radicals every day because they are the normal, byproducts of metabolism, but we need to also get rid of them so that they don't cause damage to the body system. Also, they serve as anti-inflammatory, they detoxify, and also they help in hormonal balance. There are some phytochemicals that are known as phytoestrogens. They actually help in hormonal balance. So many researches have been done on these phytochemicals to see their effect on the system. So now that we're done with the phytochemicals by color, just have a little, look about the scientific, the mechanism of action of these phytochemicals. So we have, just like from here, we said the phytochemicals are broadly divided into 5. So the polyphenols, those are the largest group of phytochemicals, and the main function is that they are very, very high in antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. You can see their structures, just like you said, we have so many. You can see under polyphenol, we have phenolic acid, we have flavonoid, we have coumarin, tannins, lignan, So we have so many of those polyphenols, and they have different functions that they do. But their main function is to serve as antioxidant and anti-inflammatory function. So we can see from the table the different polyphenols that we have, their primary sources, their physiological function, and their mechanism of action. I'll just pick one so as not to bore us too much. Like flavonoids. Flavonoids are are found in onions, in apples, in kale. And what are the physiological function? Antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and the way they work that they inhibit the cyclooxygenase and lipoxygenase, reducing pro-inflammatory cytokine. Okay. Now we have the second group, which are called carotenoids. These are lipid-soluble pigments responsible for the bright yellow, orange, and red colors in proteins. So they are known for their antioxidants, vision preservation, skin resilience, and cell signaling. Those are the functions of the carotenoids. And we can see beta-carotenoids, it's present in carrots, in pumpkin, and their physiological function, it helps in vision, it helps in immune support. And how does it work? Acts as a pro-vitamin A precursor. And it's also scavenging single oxygen to prevent DNA damage. Also, the third category.
I just mentioned that for the carotenoid has been shown conclusive. High intake of carotenoids protects you against squamous cell cancer.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Information. Okay, so the third classification, we have organosulfur compounds and glucosinolates. They are found in pungent vegetables, and these act as powerful activators of detoxification. So if you want to detoxify your system, what you just need to get more of the pungent vegetables and consume them. So you can see the difference of classification, what they do, and their primary source. Then lastly, we have the phytosteroids and the terpenes. This function, the phytosteroids function as structural limits of cholesterol, which competes and display, it displays the bad cholesterol from the system. And also, the terpenes act as potent signaling modulators that permeate biological membrane to attenuate inflammatory pathways and thereby induce hepatic enzymes for systemic detoxification. So after we've gone through all those phytochemicals, which I believe that we now have the knowledge, of what phytochemicals are, then we come to don't toast the treasure. And what do I mean by this don't toast the treasure? So many of us are so fond of, peeling our fruits and trashing them, throwing them away. But I believe that after this public lecture that it's going to stop, because the bark and the peels of the fruit are often the most nutrient-dense parts of the plant. Why? Because the peel acts as the plant's primary defense system against UV radiation, insects, pathogens. So it produces a high concentration of phytochemicals, bioactive compounds that provide significant health benefit to the humans. In many cases, the prowess of the fruit antioxidant capacity is significantly higher in the peel than in the pulp. To assess the prowess of those chemicals without compromising safety, it is essential to wash your fruits thoroughly to remove surface residues, and also for citrus or pomegranate peels that are too bitter to eat raw, then what do you do with them? They can be dried and ground into powders or used in bush teas. So it's not proper for us to throw away the peels. We hit the banana, you hit the inside, you trash the peels. And the peels, is where the nutrients and phytochemicals are more present, because that is the part that is directly exposed to sunlight, to the pests, to the, So next time, don't throw away the peels. Some of my researches, what I did was that I used the ring of watermelon. The ring of the watermelon. I tried, to look at the different phytochemicals that are present, and it was actually discovered that most of the phytochemicals are more in the peel than in the pulp. Because this is why the
Watermelon.
yes.
The hard outer.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I always thought it was in the white part.
No. But the green parts, just like the information said, that the outer part is what's directly facing the environmental hardship. So it needs to be more, immune.
Robot.
Yes. And that's why we have more nutrients in the outer parts of the fruits and vegetables. So a lot of my work was done on the back of the watermelon. And also the practical advice or the take home from this public lecture is don't peel the color away. I remember when my mom was alive, she would always peel the back of the apple. And we say, Mom, don't peel away the back of the apple, or cucumber. She peels, and I know there are still some people that peel away they peel away the green parts, the peel, and which is not. So don't peel the color away, because that's where the phytochemicals live. Also, diversity is better than quantity. One apple and one carrot are better than 3 apples. Also, steam your veggies. Don't boil the medicine into the water and pour it down the thing. Then, because the fruits and the vegetables work best when consumed through the whole fruit rather than supplement. These days, so many people work with supplement, but it's better you get it from the non-source than the supplement.
Cheaper too.
Yeah, it's cheaper, far cheaper, yeah. Okay. Now that you're fully equipped with the knowledge of phytochemicals, I believe you will start eating what you know and know what you're eating. These are the selected references I use. Thank you for listening. Any question?
What the chemicals that you would spray in the plant? How do you deal with
How do we deal with that?
chemicals?
Yeah, it's not uncommon that some people use chemicals to ripen fruits that are very advantageous for the health. So one of the ways.
Sorry, there is a parish on the south coast, two of them actually. When I was at KPH, we used to see the highest incidence of head and neck cancers came from those parishes.
Head and neck.
Head and neck cancer came from those two parishes. Well known that there's a lot of chemicals in farming. So we thought that could have been an association there.
Yes, it's going, it's going to damage some of the bioactive compounds, but the best way I think we can handle that is if you can get your fruits from a reliable source. And if not, maybe when you get your fruits, you can wash it with salt. That's one of the things I do. I use salt, salt in water to wash before
So people use bicarbonate.
Okay, so you can use
Vinegar.
Vinegar,
Vinegar
okay.
with cabbage, for example.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Cabbage, yes, in vinegar.
Okay. So I think those are the ways you can actually handle that.
Just buy organic. If you can afford it.
Yes, that's true. Any question from the online audience? Mr. Simpson?
Pardon?
Online audience, any questions?
No, not that I can see.
So in the absence of any other question, thank you so much, Ms. Carl, for this opportunity and CSMSJ. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for your beautiful presentation.
We give Dr. Kolawole great round of applause. Very, very ready. It was Hippocrates that said, he said to be the father of medicine and what about Western medicine. Because medicine is not just Western. He said that we should let our food be our medicine and our medicine be our food. But we have become so sophisticated now in the Western world. We no longer remember these things. I just thank you for reminding. I saw you mention the microbiome in the gut.
Yes.
I was hoping you would have spoken a bit more on that as well. But at least you have enlightened us to want to do some research for those of us who. What I found out is that, especially in Jamaica, I remember when I was young, was not a problem for people and eat from off the land. Now it has become a great problem, and hence we see increase in serious and terrible disease. Because we have left the eating of the food from the land to eat all of these processed foods. And I think we are suffering badly as a result. I do hope those of us who are willing to listen will take heed and will make the changes necessary. Thank you again. Very good.